Welcome to So You Think You Can Write, where we give serious writing critique without taking ourselves too seriously. My name is Randy Lindsay, and with me here today is...
Melinda Carroll,
Torsha Baker, Sandra Udall.
Okay, and the way the show works is that we are going to read a first page submission. Actually, Melinda's going to read this one. And if we decide that an agent or editor would stop reading, we will... There we go.
Why am I always
And,
last? Too slow.
And don't the agents wish that they had buzzers? Yeah, so...
They might have awesome careers and,
But
know
they-
a lot of stuff, but they don't have
don't
a
have the
buzzer.
buzzers.
Yes.
So before we get started on that, I just want to remind everyone that we have a new sponsor this year, which is Writers Clearinghouse. Our friend Ben Grange started that, and they do excellent evaluations of manuscripts, and the winner this month will receive a first 10-page evaluation for their manuscript.
Yeah.
Okay?
Awesome.
you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, this episode is called The Dragon's Curse.
Ooh.
Slowly, Zach turned the handle and pushed the large door open. Amy and Josh held their breath. They knew they shouldn't be here. The sign said, "No trespassing." But they had to find out if the legend was true. Josh had convinced Amy and Zach to come with him after the football game. The full moon was bright and shone across the field on the other side of the dirt road. Hidden under an overgrown bush, they'd found the gate that Old Man Potter had talked about when he thought they weren't listening.
Okay, so it's compelling. So, dragons, I love dragons, so, but there's a couple things right off the bat. Slowly, Jack turned the handle. Take out that slowly. You don't want the ly words, particularly in your first sentence. The other thing is I'm noticing some passive voice here. Let's see where to go. Josh had convinced Amy and Zach. Just say Josh convinced Amy and Zach. You don't have to have that had there. Where'd the other one go?
Hidden under the overgrown bush.
Had talked about?
I'm like, there was another one. Sorry, I'm just missing it.
That Mr. Potter had talked about?
Yes, that Mr. Potter had talked about. Just say Mr. Potter talked about. There's no reason to have those kind of extra words in. It slows it down. It's passive voice. And since basically if I see at least 3 little things kind of throughout, then I'll buzz just because I know the agents and editors are looking for those little things as well. So, I take this buzzer away from me.
As they stepped inside, Amy did not expect to see what she did. She couldn't believe it. The large room they walked into was filled with many...
Okay, she couldn't believe it is telling and not showing. So that after the things that Torsha had mentioned. Also hidden under an overgrown, what? With the exclamation point?
Yes, you don't have explanation points in...
Yes, and suddenly it happened, exclamation point.
The only time that you have explanation points is if it's in dialogue. And that was from my agent. That's not just for me.
Right,
So.
and this is in the prose. And some of this looks like it should be in dialogue. In fact, they knew they shouldn't be here, could be dialogue. So it makes me wonder if
we
we're...
shouldn't be here.
Right, and then and that can build some tension. So it makes me wonder if we haven't started in the wrong place. Also, hidden under an overgrown bush, they'd found the gate. Looks like it needs to start it. They'd found the gate that Old Man Potter had talked about, hidden under an overgrown bush, period. And then find another place for the rest. But that sentence structure could use some smoothing out. Okay, move on.
The large room they walked into was filled with many beautiful things, old things. But when she looked closer, she saw a big screen TV, a game console, a pool table, and a computer with a 20-inch screen. It was a modern game room. These things didn't match the old-fashioned furniture around the room. Dark fabric on the high-backed chairs framed in intricately carved wood, and large pillows like the beanbag chair she had in her room. Across the room there was another door. Where does that door lead, and what is behind it? Zach leaned against the wall, his heart hammering. Am I allowed to do it if I'm reading?
No.
Okay, but then you do it. I'll say mine later.
You know what, we're getting some head hopping. I've noticed it earlier, I was gonna let it go, but we really should be just in one person's head unless you have mastered the ability to cinematically move through everyone's head. And that's a very difficult thing to master, and I don't think you're at that level.
And if you're a debut author, no agent
And-
is going to pick you up with that. I mean, maybe if
And-
you're very, very well established.
That too.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe we shouldn't have come. Thinking about all of this made him feel a bit anxious. Do you believe this? Where are we? The 21st century or the medieval night show in California? This is crazy.
So since I actually didn't reach the buzzer,
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute. You broke your own rule.
Melinda
That is his
buzzed,
rule.
Florian.
and then I commented because I was pretty sure we were was the same thing.
Okay.
So technically, I hadn't buzzed, but I see a question mark and an exclamation point in the same sentence, and
Uh-oh.
I almost never pick on punctuation, grammar, and stuff, but that I know is a big no. And I'm pretty sure if an agent sees that even once, that manuscript is gone. So that's why I buzzed it.
Okay.
Okay, this is crazy, Zach said with disbelief. He shifted his weight to the other foot, and the stone under it gave way. Zach gasped at something to hold on to, but his fingers fumbled to hook onto anything solid. Zach disappeared. As he fell, he heard Amy and Josh's voice echo as they called to him. No, he wasn't falling. He was sliding down a cold, dark chute. So, can I comment now?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So, this is an intriguing setting, and so it's an exciting setting. However, there are some things that need to be fixed a little bit, and the head hopping was one for sure, and also there is so much telling. Even the punctuation is telling. It's kind of a little way of cheating. If you put an exclamation point, then you're saying, hey, this is a really big deal right here. Instead of using internal thought, using sensory detail, showing or
Action. Characters.
yes, show us what they're experiencing, show us what they're feeling, and then the telling part can be more in the dialogue, and there can be more dialogue in here. Like, can you kind of like what Sandra said, there's places in here where you can have them discussing it. You don't really even have them talking until way down after they've seen everything, they've snuck into this place, and then you have, is it Zach down at, kind of towards the bottom of the page saying, do you believe this? I think there would have been a little bit more talking before that. And that may help with your headhunting too. If you want to have all of these kids' reactions, pick one character to be the viewpoint character, but the other characters can be saying in dialogue some of their reactions that they're feeling, and then you can have the sensory detail coming through the viewpoint character, what they're feeling, what they're experiencing as they're seeing this room for the first time.
Absolutely. If I could just recommend, there's a book called Self-Editing for the Fiction Writer. I recommend you getting that and reading that because I think that it'll be really eye-opening and help you to kind of solve a lot of these issues that I'm seeing. So definitely get that. Who's that by? Do you remember?
I don't.
But you
I
can
don't
Google
remember,
that and
but
it will
just
pull up.
yeah, Google it. It'll pull it up. So the other thing is, again, there's all these explanation points throughout, which we kind of discussed. The other thing too is, I know she says there's a 20-inch screen. My kids would not know the size of a TV. So, or a computer, excuse me. They would just look at the computer and be like, whoa, that's a big computer, So think about your characters, think about their backgrounds, and make sure that when you're giving description, you're saying it in a way that is true to their age and their background. And that's basically what I'm going to say for now.
Okay. Yeah, the viewers can't see, but there's also some places that are in italics, so we know that the character is thinking that, but because you have two characters there, there's no reason why that can't be in dialogue, and they say it to each other. And that would actually bring more movement and action if these two kids are interacting instead of just thinking things on their own. And then that last paragraph, as far as the action goes, the action itself is good. I think it needs to be rewritten and to go a little bit more smoothly, like the Zach disappeared exclamation point.
Well, and he wouldn't see himself disappear.
Right. So we've got a point of view issue. He's going to feel
Right.
himself falling immediately and not be, oh, wait a second, I'm not falling, I'm sliding. He's going to know immediately that he's sliding.
Yeah, so is it Amy that said, I mean, would that be Amy saying, Zach disappeared, where'd Zach go? You
Yeah.
know, something like
Yeah.
that. That's another way to fix that. But again, pick, are we going to be in Amy's head or are we going to be in Zach's head?
Right.
Or Josh's.
And-
Josh's
or Josh's.
here too. There's 3 characters.
Yeah, so
here.
just stick with
Wait,
one.
how did I miss
Now,
Josh?
you can have different points of view within one book, but you need to have chapter breaks in between.
Right.
So that
or
is
setting breaks at least.
at least.
Okay, I got a couple comments. If you're gonna mention something, don't leave it undescribed. So, this talks about the legend. What legend? Don't just tell us there's a legend, tell us what legend that is, because that gives us a more complete picture of what's going on in the character's mind and in the story world. And then they're in there, and there's many beautiful things, old things. Okay, so if it's important enough to mention, it's important enough to describe. I mean, so that's what I was told. The example I was given, it's never a car. It's a red Mustang, okay? Because that tells us something. A car is generic. It's just, we can't picture that, but we can picture a red Mustang. So there's a couple of points there where the manuscript can be improved by giving us more detail, be specific on it. But I want to go on some positives. So I thought this was fun. This is the kind of thing that I would like to read because the kids are there. They're in, they're probably going to get into trouble. They're going to find something really cool. It's going to be fantasy. So I want to throw in some encouragement that this is a story that I find interesting already, even though I can definitely do without 5 exclamation points on the first page. And that this is the kind of story that I would like to read. And so it does interest me, and I do want to read more because it's in the genres that I like.
Yeah,
Yes.
agreed.
Anything else?
Voting.
Okay, we're going to go for voting.
Yeah.
I have one more thing.
Oh, just kidding.
Okay.
You can say it at voting too.
Well, and I agree, there are places where you can be more specific with details, and that is important. It's a very efficient way to accomplish a lot, whether it's characterization about what kind of car this character drives, or, there's a lot you can accomplish really easily and quickly and efficiently with just a word or two.
Right.
Then this whole second paragraph, though, I think it's important to have, perhaps it's important to the plot to have this juxtaposition of old and new. If it's not, don't spend that much time describing it, because that's a whole, like almost a third of the page describing this. So that,
I do like the idea of it's this dragon's cursed, and they find this old man Potter was talking about this legend, and they go in, and it's a surprise, it's a modern game room. Like, that kind of is a good middle
that
grade.
juxtaposition, yes.
I'm assuming there's reason behind it, but
Right.
with it being in there. But who knows?
And hopefully if they've spent this much time describing this room, that it's going to be an important setting. Because if they just walk through this room and never come back to it again, then that wasn't efficient use of that. But, and I do agree that it's a very interesting story. It's the description of the full moon, and they're there after the football game. They're going through the underbrush, so you've got some great elements and that fit this genre. So there's some great things about it. Okay.
All right, let's go to voting. I'm going to give it a set. I think it definitely needs some grammar cleaning up, but I like what it's doing and where it's going, and I would want to read more. And for me, it's tough to get me to want to read more on a lot of I'm a tough reader, so I'm going to give it a set.
So I feel like I'm being grumpy, but I'm going to give it a right. I agree. I think it's totally intriguing. I don't think it's publishable yet. I think that there are some some novice mistakes that are being made, And the premise is not novice. It's a good, strong premise, and so I think it deserves to it deserves to be lifted up on a little bit higher plane. I think you get rid of those exclamation points. You don't do the head hunting or head hopping. Sorry,
Hunting for heads.
and depending on
Maybe we are hunting for heads.
and depending on where your story's going, it may require quite a rewrite if you're going to stick in one person's point of view, which you really have to do, at least in each chapter. And so, because I think that there's a little bit of writing that has to happen here, I'm gonna give it a right.
Okay, I'm going to give it a right as well. I do find it compelling. However, this is something that we talk about a lot in first chapters, is what sets this story apart from all the others out there. And I'm not really getting a strong sense of that. So, I mean, aside from, again, the technical things like the head hopping, not hunting.
Sorry.
It's okay.
That may come later, you don't know.
It could. I mean, the dragon's curse, maybe, they're searching for heads. So anyway, so I would love for you to put in here, and especially right in the beginning, let us know why this dragon book is different than all the other dragon books out there. And I also am not feeling a strong sense of voice. And a lot of that has to do with, that we're in 3 different people's heads through here, so you don't have a whole lot of time to spend on one character in particular as far as getting into a deep point of view. So because of those things, and aside from the little things like the explanation points, and tightening up some things, I do think that it is going to need a write. But again, check out that book, because that book on editing it really helped me. It helps basically everybody that I know that has read it, and I think it'll help you with this and getting it cleaned up and getting it ready. So, Sandra.
Okay. And as you say that, I'm thinking that I get the sense that this author is someone who, once she reads a book like that, will get it and be able to apply those right away. I think there are enough strengths in this that she'll be able to say, oh, look, yeah, you're right, and be able to do this. Even though they are novice mistakes, I feel like they're the type that could be, with some learning, they could quickly be taken care of, applied. Yeah, mm-hmm. And I've known writers who do that. Like the moment they learn a new concept, they're like, oh, yeah, and they could do it immediately. And I feel like this author could probably do that. Having said that, I am going to give it a write. Go back and clean it up, put it into one character's point of view, and send it. You have people send stuff back a second time?
No,
I'm
not.
Send it back.
So say send it back. Okay.
We have, but
no more. Well,
We've had that and it slipped past me. We really don't want that. We want to give everyone a chance to submit their story one time, and if we're critiquing the same story multiple times, that reduces the amount of people who can benefit.
it
from
takes
what we're
away
doing.
from someone else.
so go ahead, put the work into it, then send it off to your beta readers, and just keep going. I want to give you
And then
lots
get
of
published, and let us
encouragement.
know when you get published.
Yes, I want to give you lots of encouragement, but I am going to give it a right. There was one more thing I was going to say, now I can't remember.
I guess it wasn't
I'll
that
have to
important.
put it in the comments.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. And then once she puts that in the comments, you can comment on her comment, and then I'll comment on both of your comments, and it'll be fun.
It'll be a comment party.
It'll be
Yes.
comment fun.
We'll create
All
a
right,
community
so
comment.
subscribe. I remember this time. Subscribe, and until next time, get ready.
Get set.
Right.
All right, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and don't forget that we have a new sponsor this year. Our friend Ben Grange with Writers Clearinghouse is offering all the prize support for this year, and the winner each month will get a first 10-page manuscript evaluation for free.
Yep. And then the winner of the full year is going to get a full manuscript critique
Wow.
from agents and editors, guys. These are top guys.
That have worked in the industry and really know their stuff. I mean, that's big. Okay, and then you can find out more about Ben Grange and the Writers Clearinghouse at www.writersch, as in clearinghouse, writersclearinghouse.com.